Hey everybody, welcome back to Nick 101. I'm your host as always, Nick, and yeah, happy Monday. How was your weekend? I'll be completely honest, this one's probably going to be a short one. Not for any particular reason other than um, not a whole heck of a lot happened on the weekend, and also my computer's it's a slow death that is happening. First aspects of the camera have been going out, and then even after an update, the laptop's been going slow. So there's nothing more frustrating than putting a half hour to an hour into an episode, playing it back, and then realizing it's completely unusable. That has happened a couple of times now. That's one of the reasons why the dog Summer Tips was kind of short. First of all, it was one that needed to get put out there, and I couldn't really think of anything else off the top of my head, so it's only about 10 minutes, but also because that was probably the seventh attempt at recording it. I know that I really just need to start, investing and looking into equipment for better equipment and stuff, but it hurts me because I've always been the type of frugal person where it's like, if it works good enough, then, why upgrade to the big and better thing? I hate, planned obsolescence. Well, you know, that planned obsolescence is just really a fancy way of saying um, I intentionally gave you a pre-planned broken thing, and so you know I always try and make sure it's just like use it until it breaks, and then if it can't be fixed, then you get a new thing. So that's why it's kind of hard for me. But my buddy Josh is right. I should get like a lavalier mic. I should get you know slightly higher quality camera that doesn't have to keep on trying to autofocus anytime I just happen to lean forward or back, just briefly for a second. But anyway, so that, and it's like for the weekend, like I said, not a whole heck of a lot got done. So Saturday was kind of one of those lazy f off weekends where we still tried to get a couple of things done, but we also just tried to have a nice light one, and play some cribbage, do the stuff that we usually like to do when we have a day off. And if it was a long week and we just really want to kind of just woo-saw, get the craziness of the week off of us, just shake it off. Still do some productive stuff, because I mean I don't think that there's any worse feeling than getting to the end of a day. I used to love it, but now I get to the end of a day, and if I didn't get at least one or two productive things accomplished, I just feel like absolute dog poop. I feel like I wasted a day, and now I'm one step closer to death, and I have nothing to show for it from that day. Having said that, obviously, if it's a specific vacation day where planned to not do anything at all, then that's completely different. I'm just talking about a day off, or a longer afternoon than you planned for, or a holiday that you got to get off. Those are the days where it's like, well, normally I would be working anyway, so I should try and get stuff done. And if you end up just getting distracted by TV or whatever, then now I can't even enjoy that. I get to do nothing, which in a way is a good thing. It's a good thing because I hate how lazy my natural inclination is. There's some people that just have that hustle where it's like, if I'm not doing something, I'm antsy, my foot's tapping, and I'm getting into a bad mood. So they like to always be moving and grooving. And my natural state of rest is a state of rest. It isn't a state of slow movement. So Saturday was just that lovely, perfect blend of you know made sure to have some fun, but also just got a little bit done, enough so that we didn't feel like it was a total waste. And then Sunday, it was so dumb. So Saturday we really should have done the yard work because it was the cooler of the 2 days. And nope, we decided to mess around and then have to do all the yard work at the peak heat of Sunday, which is fine. I mean, we had a pretty high in protein, and it's, a little saltier than we usually like for a breakfast. So we're able to work that off and sweat that out. So in a way, it was a good thing. But yeah, so we got a lot of the yard looking a lot better. It's just a constant battle to try and keep the woods from overtaking what little scrap of land we have. And now that we've been getting the rain that we actually deserve. The foliage has just been just bam blooming, like crazy. So We were able to get that done, and we had originally planned on so many other things for that day. Like we were gonna go to her niece's game and all that, and then just like how oftentimes happens, our neighbor stopped by and was just like, I hate to ask, but could I get some help because down the street somebody's getting rid of a dresser for free. It's absolutely adorable. I know the room I want to put it in, and we're absolutely happy to help. I mean that's half the reason why I have the truck is so that I can use it for dump runs or moving furniture or something. Because she has the smart, eco-friendly, all-wheel drive car that's great in the snow, great for grocery getting and stuff. But when it comes to just needing a down and dirty truck whose bed you don't really need to care about, scratching up, that's why I get the truck. And so, yeah, I was happy to help. I mean, we get all the moving stuff. So, you get the shoulder dollies, you get the forearm straps, you get a regular metal dolly with the ratchet straps. I mean, basically whatever it needs to be moved, up to a certain point, I absolutely can help out doing it. So we were happy to, and of course, she was grateful for it. So, she was just like, hey, I, get you guys a drink, and thanks. And so, we drank the drink, and, we caught up and stuff. And long story short, by the time it was time to, go to the game and stuff, it was like, well, actually, we've had a couple of drinks, between us, and neither of us thought that it would be a good idea to drive. So, we didn't. We were responsible, but it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, that would have been really nice to go to, but at the same time, like, sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen with the day. It gets away from you, and I'm glad that we were responsible. I'm glad that we weren't that tipsy where it's just like, I'm getting this to drag, give me the keys. That's something that I feel like both of us have grown out of over the years, where it's like there's nothing to prove anymore in your 30s. Uh, you know, you're thinking more about the uh, the danger and the potential cost of both money and life. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm good enough and you have something to prove. It's just like the relief of not having something to prove to anybody other than ourselves is awesome. Like if you can get to that point, that's basically where I'm at now. It's just like literally, I'm not doing this because I know that Josh is watching and and encouraging me, and in a way that is really awesome that he is. But at the same time, I'm doing it because I want to do it and because especially the animal stuff, it does fulfill a small part of me that I do kind of miss from working with animals. So, I almost encourage, you know, comments that, might possibly be negative because at this point, I mean, unless it's from somebody like, really close and personal that it's just like, oh my God, that kind of hurt because I didn't know that you felt that way. If it's just some random, like trying to, throw some shade my way. Honestly, like I almost hope for that so that in a way I can, read it and make fun of them. You know what I mean? Like whereas it might have hurt before. So I'm glad that I'm kind of at that place. But yeah, so we did it because it was the right thing to do, not because anyway, not because then I knew that I was going to be able to like pat myself on the back on the podcast the next day saying, hey, we didn't drink and drive, aren't we so good? I mean, yeah, it does almost sound like I'm congratulating myself for what should honestly be a go-to. But I mean, we've all been stupid in our 20s, and so I'm admitting that I used to be that guy. I did occasionally have a few drinks and get behind the wheel. Not proud of it. I'm glad that nobody got hurt, but at the same time, it's really nice looking back and not being that person anymore. Because when I was kind of wearing as a badge of honor back then, now I just see it as a life lesson and pretty embarrassing. So it's nice being able to turn that around. But yeah. Oh no. I just remembered what I was supposed to get from the store. Alright, another reason why I might have to cut this short, but I'll try and give you at least another 10 before I have to go. I was so busy with getting Lulu back from the daycare and stuff that I did forget that we did have plans for dinner and I was supposed to pick stuff up in the store, so that's my bad, that's on me. And who knows, this might all be unusable anyway, so we will see. But yes, other than that, things are going well. I'm in the market for a new car. So I don't know. I'm thinking that I want to go maybe towards the SUV route. What would be awesome is if I could have all the cars that I ever wanted in my life and be able to drive each one when I'm feeling certain something. So like for instance, right now we have we're borrowing the smart car from her dad while she's getting work done in her car, and I got to say that thing is just an absolute blast. It looks like a go-kart that can go 60 miles an hour, and that's just how it feels too. But it never feels like you're, at risk of, flipping over if you take too strong of a turn. It's just an absolute blast to drive. Obviously, we're not, like, drag racing it in the back roads and stuff. But it is fun going on a windy road and just feeling, the lightness of it. Probably would do horrible in the snow. I don't want to like I'm ever gonna get sponsored by Smart Car. I don't want to lose a sponsor by shit talking when I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't imagine that with as light as it is that it does too well in the snow. But otherwise, for just a two working back, the thing is an absolute blast. I gotta admit, and being able to have something like that, maybe like a nice, really loud, roaring sports car, something standard. I miss a standard. Once you've learned how to drive one, you do always kind of miss it. And that smart car is one of those that has the shifter on the side. And my girl was making fun of me the other day because when I was driving it, I had my hand resting there, and then so she was just like, "It's funny how you're holding on to it." And I was just like, it's kind of something that does kind of carry over if you learn to and enjoy driving standards. It's just having that car there to be able to, it does have the paddle shifter, but I don't know. That's one where if it's already an automatic, I mean, I don't really see the need for that. But that thing's a blast. So it'd be nice to have like a nice big something you can throw groceries and lumber in if you need to. A fun sports car that just hugs turns and you can open up on the highway. And something fun and small like that. That's great on gas. I mean, I there's so many different things that I would like to have for so many different occasions that I can honestly see how some people end up being, car car obsessed. I almost want to say enthusiasts or car collectors, but in a way, it's more car obsessed. Like it was hilarious in Comedians and Cars Getting Coffee when Jay Leno was like, I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. I've never been addicted to anything in my life, but I will have my first cup of coffee with you. And then Jerry Seinfeld's just like, yeah, the guy that has like what is it now, 200 garages of cars, who's never been addicted to anything in his life. Okay, all right, Mr. Car Collector. That was kind of cute. Where it's just like, yeah, no, I think that anybody that has the mentality to be good enough at stand up to be one of those like one percenters that you actually recognize their name, you have to have an addictive personality. And so, I mean, Leno's kind of funny because, yeah, the cars, but also the laughs. I mean, he couldn't have been in and around comedy for this long without having it be an addiction. Because, quite frankly, that's a really thankless profession that, I mean, yeah, he got lucky with the show and everything, but, I mean, otherwise, that's just a thankless profession that usually requires at least a decade of getting pooped on before you can even make a little bit of enough money to be able to have that be your main source of income. That's why I feel so bad about any of these up and comer comics that probably have and or had a whole lot of promise and probably would have been great, but then when all of a sudden Life on the Road died, thankfully the better known ones could turn to podcasting so they could at least make enough with their advertisers, to do that until the clubs and theaters and stuff opened up again. But I mean, that might have killed some comics' careers that we might never know now because they had to go back to work, and maybe they got injured on the job, or maybe they're just like under a mountain of debt and they have to work overtime in order to try and come out from underneath it. And it's a shame because I am such a huge fan of comedy that um, you know at times it's almost just like, oh god, there's so many brand new ones, like there's these new specials on Amazon, and I need to get to those. Oh, but there's these new specials on this one, and there's new specials on this one, and there's all these on YouTube, and it's to the point where I'm not sad. Something's gonna be overwhelming, but I'm not sad that there's probably always going to be a new, fresh face that is just is a very unique take on things. Like can't wait till we get like the next Stephen Wright, like somebody just so out of the box and such a unique delivery and like type of jokes. God, I hope he's still doing stand up. I would love for like a Stephen Wright special to come out or something. That guy, um, you know, unfortunately, we usually lose a lot of the most unique ones, like Mitch Hedberg, and usually we lose the really unique, Sam Kinison, like the really unique ones early. Um, wait, who knows if it was before they peaked or not, or maybe a Patrice O'Neill, like all these ones where it's like, man, you know, what could the world have been with just a extra special or two, especially the ones that had something to say, you know. Some people argue that Carlin might be the goat, a goat, one of the goats, not the goat, but definitely a goat. But and he definitely had something to say, but at times it's like, well, was that funny or just really intelligent? And oftentimes it can be both, but sometimes I think that like he tried to force himself to put out especially a year when he actually could have polished it, with a year and a half and done a little better. And then at other times it's just like I feel like he was so genuinely upset about the thing that he was trying to say that it actually made it more of an angry rant than a bit. And that's a shame because I mean he still would make it funny, obviously, but sometimes there was just so much anger that it was just like, oh, that was a good point, and we'll giggle because it's a comedy special. But if that had been completely out of context and you had said that, that wouldn't have been a funny thing to say. That just would have been like, yeah, so let's grab the pitchforks, let's write to our senators, like let's try and make some change happen because I'm right there with you, George. Um, I mean, at this point, it's almost like watching a Rogan podcast. You know that at any point he's going to talk about um, aliens, vitamins, UFC, jujitsu. I mean, like the dude likes like like the same 15 things, and it's great. And I love that he also expands his mind with you know bringing people on that wrote a really interesting book. I mean, even the guy that just did the breath thing, like breathe through your nose, like what? I never would have thought I would have said just in, just completely enthralled the entire episode about a guy just talking about breathing. And they didn't even really go into breathing techniques, just the full on just breath and why we need dental surgery. Like that even it even like delved down that much of a rabbit hole. So anyway, with me, it's gonna kind of go to one of many things, and it's even gonna be the dog, comedy, stuff like that. So I'm not too sad that I keep on going back to that same thing, but yeah. So and because I always do have to mention that with her. So apparently Lilu, like the daycare didn't really notice it, but apparently like her and I guess one of the dogs, probably a puppy with sharp teeth, they were going at it, and so she came back, and at first I was terrified because some of the bigger spots almost looked like ringworm. She was actually missing a little bit of a patch of fur, but then I was feeling like teeny little scab here, teeny little scab there, and I realized she actually just got into it with the dog, and since she's a flat coat and not much protection. There was a couple of punctures. It is what it is. I mean no dog's allowed that doesn't have their shots. And dogs will be dogs. Since it was all in the play area, it obviously didn't end up being anything malicious. Like you can tell the spots where they weren't playing around anymore. So they were like, oh, okay, we'll just make sure to like watch out for it. And they were very grateful that I wasn't one of those overprotective, panicky pet parents where I was just like, you let my dog get injured, I'm going to sue you. So. We talked about it. We both confirmed that it wasn't ringworm or anything like that. It definitely should have just been two dogs getting a little bit more playful than they should have. And that's fine. And honestly, that's something where that's why I still prefer doing daycare than going to a. Uh, Having said that, I do like that there are areas in town that you can bring a dog to go play. Um, Problem with that is that there is no referee on duty, and even though was a trained dog trainer, the people that go there to get playtime and the ones that have the problematic dogs are not going to listen to you tell them how to raise their own puppy. So it would just get frustrating because once you know dog training, it's really kind of hard to turn it off when you see somebody just letting their dog get worse and worse to the point where it's like, if this keeps going how it's going, that dog is eventually going to bite another dog or a person, and they're going to have to be put down, and you're going to do that thing of like, oh, but they've never done this before, when in fact I've seen them do it at least 3 times now, and each time you say they've never done it before. It sucks. I've said this in another podcast, but it's like, I can't remember what it is. It's something about like, you're biased because you chose the thing, so it's hard for you to wrap your mind around that you made a bad choice. So in a way, you kind of have blinders to it. So it isn't like you intentionally saying, they've never done this before. In your head, they haven't because it hasn't gotten that bad before. But you did absolutely see the signs leading up to it. You just chose to, you either chose to or you just were programmed, to ignore them. So, um, yeah, I mean, unless there's like, a severe incident, I definitely enjoy doing the doggy daycare. And she apparently absolutely loves it. She not only gets along with almost all the dogs, but also she likes being the referee sometimes, where there's two other dogs getting too heated, and then she'll be like, hey, knock it off, you two. So I love hearing that she's that kind of dog. But anyway, I need to let you go, unfortunately, because I do need to make a quick grocery run. I do apologize for cutting it short. I'm hoping this is usable. Let's see. As I sign off, I appreciate you.